Okay, we're good to go. Yep, there we are. Excellent. Okay. Let's move this right here. There we go. Okay, hello everyone. We're going to be playing today some Maverick. This is a deck that I very much enjoyed before the Deathrite Shaman ban. I actually had like surprisingly good results with it, and it's always a lot of fun. I very much enjoy toolboxy kind of decks, and that's the reason why my two favorite cards ever printed are Primeval Titan and Knight of the Reliquary. So today we're actually gonna have a Knight of the Reliquary stream. So basically what we have here is a green-white kind of hate bears deck. We're running both Thalias. That frame is so bad. I hate that frame. Anyway, we are running both Thalias. And then we're running Knight of the Reliquary, which can get... We have a couple of toolboxy kind of lands, as well as some actual lands. So let's do this like right here. Put this here. Put this here. There we go. Okay, so these are our mana producing lands right here. We got a couple of forests and then some fetch lands. And then we have wastelands, which of course we can recur with ramming up excavator right here. We have Gaia's Cradle, which oftentimes allows us to either crack a ton of clues in the same turn with Tireless Tracker, and it also it's very useful when you want to play a Jite or a Sword of Fire and Ice, and you want to play it, equip, do a bunch of things on the same turn. And then we have, Canopy to draw a card, Caracas, which is really good against, I guess, Thalia in the mirror, or it's really good against Reanimator, against Show and Tell, decks like that. Maze of Ith, also really good against Reanimator, also quite excellent against Delver, and that kind of strategies. And Dryad Arbor, which is just a one-off that we can get on turn 1. And basically turns any green sun zenith that we have on turn 1, basically it's like a Llanowar Elf, because we can just sin it for 0 and go get a Dryad Arbor, and then we can start the third turn, our third turn with potentially 3 mana. And then we have Mother of Runes, which is an excellent card and extremely annoying for opponents to play around. Mother of Runes gets particularly good when you combine it with Scrib Ranger. This is, I believe, secretly the best card in the deck. It saves your lands. First of all, it has Flash. Okay, which is, it forces your opponent to be aware of it, and sometimes they don't even know that this card exists. So you can really get them sometimes. Second, it flies and it has protection from blue, which means that it blocks Delver all night long. And then it has the same ability that Quirion Ranger does in Elves, which allows you to untap target creature. So, what this is when combined with Noble Hierarch, Birds, or Dryad Arbor, it's ramp. When combined with Mother of Runes, it's actually 2 protection triggers off of the same Mother of Rune. When combined with Stormforge Mystic, this doesn't really happen, but I mean, you technically could put both equipments on the same turn. That I don't think I ever had that happen to me. And when you combine it with Night, you get 2 Night activations on the same turn, which is pretty incredible. Also, there's like some more niche interactions, I guess, that end up being really sweet. For example, it just blocks Merit Lage, and then you can give it Pro Black, so you can basically blank their Merit Lage token until you eventually draw a Caracas and bounce it. So yeah, like Merit Lage decks are actually pretty good matchups for us, except for lands, because they have Punishing Fire, which is kind of a pain to deal with. And then we have, of course, our value cards in Tracker, Ramming Up Excavator, Ooze against Graveyard decks, Gadoctig against Miracles, and Storm. Storm cannot cast their win conditions through a Gadoctig, nor Ad Nauseam. And then the one of Kasali Primage, which can, destroy random, like, Blood Moons, Snare Bridges, stuff like that in Game 1. So that's pretty much for the main deck. As for the sideboard, we have Gideon for grindy matchups and stuff. Ethersworn Canonist and Mightbreak Trap against Storm. Specifically, they have some like random other utilities, but it's mostly against those two. Surgical against Combo and sometimes Graveyard decks. Bog, this one is actually specifically against Graveyard decks. You can get it at instant speed with Knight to, get them. Crop rotation, I imagine, is that whenever you bring in Bog, again, this is my first time playing the deck, so I'm just going off of this 5 list that I saw in last Friday, I think, or Saturday, whenever they drop the 5 lists. Crop rotation, I imagine, is to get like Bog at instant speed. So I imagine against like Reanimator and stuff, you can instant speed Bog. You can sack a land to go get your Caracas or your Maze of Ith. And I guess you can even crop rotation for Cradle if you really need to. I don't know how often that comes up, but it might. Then we have Choke against Miracles and all the stupid blue control decks, Grixis control and stuff. Reclamation Sage as extra answers to Blood Moon and Snare Bridge, as I was saying, and things like that, artifacts and enchantments, of course. And then there's Council's Judgment, which is, I assume, mostly against True Name Nemesis. As you can see, we're actually kind of soft against True Name Nemesis. Before, with the other list that I used to run 2 Celos Persecution in the sideboard, which was really sweet against both True Name Nemesis, Young Pyromancer, and Elves. This list seems to be really, really soft to Elves. I have no idea how we ever in a million years beat Elves. I guess you have to like plow all of their dudes. I hope you draw all 4 plows and Jita and kind of win from there. But I don't think this list is at all aimed at beating Elves. So if we happen to face that matchup, we're gonna be in a lot of trouble. Second Sylvan Library. This card is really good in the grindy matchups. Of course, it's not, a card you ever want to draw 2 of, but against decks like Miracles, against control decks, and sometimes even against Delver, just being able to control the top of your deck is actually pretty sweet, and potentially be able to draw a couple of extra cards. And then finally, Python Needle, which, it's kind of like a catch-all. I guess this one is actually good against Elves. ¿Qué haces, hermano? ¿Todo bien? So Python Needle gets all of those guys. Then it gets like Gristlebrand. You can name Sneak Attack. You can name what else? It's kind of like a catch-all, I guess. So that's it for the deck. We're going to join a league. I will see how things go. So in my experience with this deck, one of the beautiful things that it has is that Maverick is that it kind of has game against everything. A lot of times you're kind of like, how do we beat this deck, and then you just draw like a random card like Gadoctig, and you're like, oh, I guess this is how we beat Storm. Just a green stance in it for Gadoctig. Or how do we beat something like, I don't know, like Delver. And then you have like your Strive Ranger, and you have your Scavenging Ooze, which is now like a, like a 6/6 or 7/7 because you ate a lot of things, and now you're blocking their Gurmaganglers and giving it protection with Mother of Runes. So it's very interesting how the deck feels like there's always something that you can do. Which is something that I really enjoy. Again, that's why I really enjoy playing Amulet in Modern, because that's exactly the feel that I get from that deck as well. It always feels like there's something you could have done in order to win every single game. Still, because of how bad I expect our elves matchup to be, I think that we won't really have an out against that one. But we'll see. We will see. Hopefully, we don't draw the elves, and we're good. We don't play against elves, and we're good. So we'll see how it goes. Magic Online has just finished their schedule maintenance, so it might be, that we will be waiting quite a bit. Oh, but there it is. Sweet. That was not that bad. Okay. Let's see what we got. Give my opponent the GGs. Now let's see what they are on. I don't think I played against this guy before. No idea what they might be on. But hopefully we'll find out soon enough. And now we wait, apparently. There we go. This hand is a little bit of a sketch. But we have like all the lands that we can hope for, and we actually have a mace, which is pretty good interaction, as well as the swords. So I'm gonna keep this hand. Also, Mum is a pain to deal with for a ton of decks in the format. And if this is Storm, this is an incredibly bad hand. If this is something like what's his name, Sneak and Show, then we are in a much better spot. Still, second plow, not the best thing that we could hope for. Second plow, not the best thing. Wasteland. I really don't care about that. My opponent wastes me, I don't care. Okay, so they forked me. They waste me. Okay, sure, I don't care. So now actually we have... so this might actually be Grixis Delver, I guess. Because it's Grixis Delver, because I don't think that Rock Delver runs Forked Bolt. That's why I'm not playing around Stifle. I mean, my opponent might very well get me right here. But no, they are not running Stifle. So here I'm actually going to play the Silver Library. I want to get this to resolve ASAP. Okay, they got me. Okay, sir. At least it was a Daze and it was not a Spell Pierce or something like that, A Spell Pierce would have been really rough there. Especially because we can kind of blank their Spell Pierces. So we are playing against most likely Grixis Delver here. So these plows are going to be really good. So my opponent's going to cast the Gormag Angler here. Yeah. Sweet. So my opponent has an Angler. So I'm going to lead on Swords. My opponent wants to... No. Okay. Sweet. Play Hierarch. Play my Mace. And go. So now we're actually not in a bad spot at all. My opponent is kind of like struggling. They are counterpin a bunch, but they don't have a threat. And even when they do have a threat, we still have an answer. So I think I like our spot here so far. Ooze. That's pretty good. Because I want my Ooze to survive and actually have food, I'm going to lead on Kasali Pride Mage here. If they want to, kill my Noble, that's perfectly fine. And if not, they take two. They're bolting my Pride Mage. Okay, sure. I'll take that. And we swing in for one. My opponent has 3 cards in hand. That's good for us. They're shuffling off their days. Of their brainstorm, after the brainstorm. Yeah, my opponent's cantripping like crazy. What do we got here? Second angler. Yeah, it's kind of sweet that we didn't have the mace here to kind of stop any angler beats. This is a pretty damn good draw. Let's lead with that. See what my opponent has. This will allow me not only to get Jite, but it also allows me to play this sword through counter magic. I guess my opponent's considering a force here. Yep. Force, pitching force. Yeah, so at this point I just feel like I'm super far ahead. We're going to get to resolve our ooze next turn most likely, or a sword. I'm going to try to see if my opponent has a wasteland here. Jeez, so many brainstorms. If my opponent does have the wasteland, I'm going to swords the angler, because I want to deal with it eventually anyway. If they do not, I'm just going to mace it and just keep kind of delaying that. I don't need to kill the angler immediately. It would be, you see, that is something that I'm more interested in killing. Okay, so my opponent shows me that they get nothing. Okay, so the young pyro I am going to kill. Okay, and now we play our ooze. And I think I want to play another Noble Hierarch here. My opponent has one turn to find an answer to this ooze. And if they don't, this ooze is just going to win the game by itself. So they need to draw a bolt right here. They have a Delver. Okay, yeah, that does absolutely nothing. Cool. So now this ooze is going to start running away with this game. I can eat 1, 2, 3 things. And then I will put a sword on it. So yeah, we should be really, really far ahead by this point. Yeah, I guess I can do this. And I'm going to right now eat 2 of my dudes. I want to get the ooze out of bolt range ASAP. And next turn, this ooze is going to be wielding a sword and the game is going to be over. Oh crap, I don't even need to wait till next turn. Because of the 2 exalted triggers? Jeez. This is so much better. This is actually so much better than I was thinking of doing. Yeah, let's do this instead. So the use is going to be a 6/6 with both exalted triggers, and it's already going to be out of bolt range because of the sword. So yep. Happy I saw this before I went for the gain a couple of life and exile a couple of things line. And now the ooze has pro blue also, so my opponent cannot double block. This ooze is going to get in there unless he decides to chump. Gonna kill the Delver. And we draw swords. Yep, this game is really over. Really, really over. Usually, Grixis Delver lists do not run main deck Kolaghan's Command anymore. I think they used to when Deathrite Shaman was a card, but nowadays that's not really the case anymore. So, against Grixis Delver, I want chokes. And I think that's it. Probably Council's Judgment, they probably have True Name Nemesis. And I don't think I want anything else. Gideon kind of seems like a card that I might want, but in my experience, just making it to 4 mana is not trivial. Everything happens, really with both players kind of constrained on mana because they are wastelanding me and I am wastelanding them. Every time I wasteland them, we're down a land. So it's not really a good proposition to be trying to cast a 4 mana planeswalker into cards like Spell Pierce and Daze. Thalias are pretty good. I have no idea how good Big Thalia is though. She seems like she could be pretty sweet though. So I'm gonna again I'm playing this list for the first time right now, so I have no idea what if this card is good against Delver or not. But I kind of want to try it out. Pride Mage. They play Bitter Blossom post board. I would not be really worried about Bitter Blossom with my previous list because I used to bring Zealous Persecution in this matchup anyway. But right now it's probably not where I want to, I want to have an answer to resolve Bitter Blossom. I like both equipments. Maybe I can side out one Great Sensitive because of Spell Pierce. Although I am running, some stuff that might run into Spell Pierce. And probably actually I don't want both chokes on the draw. I think choke it's probably on the draw is gonna be a little bit too slow. On the play, I definitely want the second choke, so I'm going to be running the second choke. But on the play, maybe I don't want that, and I can side maybe a Thalia for the second choke. We'll see. So up a game against Grixis Delver. Now let's see what's up. It's interesting that my opponent is writing Preordains and Ponders and Brainstorms. Maybe they just replace the 4 Deathray Shaman with more cantrips and call it a day. Who knows? Maybe I should actually put the chat here. Let's see how this looks on OBS. Oh no, but yeah, that would get in the way. So never mind. Never mind. Even with 2 monitors, it's kind of hard to keep everything visible. It's like my opponent always takes a long time before they decide to finally click. Because they're not even resolving mulligans, they're just like waiting for whatever. I like this, yeah. I think I like this. So this is turn 1, I'm going to go fetch a basic forest. And then I'm going to Green Sun Zenith for 0. What that will do is that will actually allow me to have access to 3 mana on turn 2, and I think I'm going to play this Thalia on turn 2 if given the chance. If my opponent doesn't like kill my Dryad Arbor or wasteland it or something. It's also cool that we have an answer to the Delver right here. So that's also pretty cool. And if they wasteland or Dryad Arbor, they are even less likely to have an answer to the maze. So I am for sure using Zenith for 0 on turn 1. At this point, I just suspect that my opponent is double queuing, which is really annoying. I kind of hate when people double queue. I see the point, but it's just like, it's such a poor play experience. Especially, for streaming purposes. Like, what is this? We've been just waiting for the past 3 minutes for my opponent to do anything. And for no reason at all, It kind of really sucks. It takes a lot of the dynamic from the game. But oh well. There's nothing that we can that we can do about it anyway. Here I'm definitely gonna get a basic forest, because if my opponent has like bold plus wasteland, then we are extremely far behind, and I don't think that we can afford to do that. So if my opponent has a bolt and kills my Drydiver, at least we are like, we have one land drop, and we can, you know, potentially have like a Noble Hierarch or something like that as an out. Still waiting. Just sent a message to my opponent asking if they are over there still. This is... Oh, they disconnected. That sucks. Alright. So, in the meantime, we can talk about this matchup. In my experience, this matchup is pretty positive. Usually when I lose is because True Name Nemesis is a messed up card that was not meant to be played at 1v1, you know. It was meant to be played in a multiplayer context, but having a 3 mana Progenitus, it's a little bit annoying. Yes, you can answer it. You can answer it with stuff like, you know, Zealous Persecution, the 2 mana one, Marsh Casualties, even they printed Council's Judgment, which also represents an answer to True Nemesis, but it's like, it's rough, you know, having to have a 3 mana sorcery speed double white card in your deck to answer their 3 mana card. It can be a little bit rough when they are playing Forces, Spell Pierces, Daces, you know, it's not the easiest. So yeah, usually the games that I've lost with the previous with the Deathray Shaman version of the deck used to be because True Nemesis kind of ran away with the game. GT is not a bad draw. I mean, it's okay. I'd rather have a land more than anything right now, but the GT is at least like a turn 2 play that we can have if my opponent actually goes ahead and kills my Drydiver. So that's cool. That we're not basically like time walked if my opponent happens to draw a wasteland or a bolt. So that's cool. Get a basic forest. One of the perks of Magic Online is you get to have Guru forests for you know, less than a cent. So that's cool, because this looks pretty. This looks pretty, and it doesn't cost 300 bucks. So that's cool. Guess my opponent is considering dacing this, or maybe they are paying attention to their other match, or maybe they got disconnected again. So all of those are possibilities now. If my opponent is actually double queuing, it's kind of sweet that they get extra value, extra bluff value by double queuing. That's pretty funny. Okay, there we go. Alright. Let's see if this Delver flips. Let's see. We're almost 10 minutes ahead of my opponent in clock. That's kind of crazy. That is pretty crazy. So, do I think my opponent would have this in hand? I'm honestly not sure if my opponent would have days that anyway if they actually had the days. Because if they do not have days, then I 100% want to play this choke on turn 2. Again, if my Drydiver survives. Or if my opponent decides to take their second turn of the game. None of those are given at this point. None of those are a given. This is a little bit frustrating. This is a little bit frustrating. Maybe it's not their fault and they just have like a bad connection or something. But this, I apologize for this. This is of course not amazing entertainment. I wish there could be any way to avoid this. We're up a game and we literally have used not even 4 minutes of our clock. Sorry, man, Monia. Thanks, Vanwedge. I'm happy that this entertains you. That's definitely. I definitely appreciate the support. I definitely appreciate the support because I need it right now. I am bored. I am bored. But anyway, so who's here from the... I know. It's a thriller. It's a thriller. I guess that's what maybe that's what my opponent's doing. They're just building suspense. They're just building suspense. I kind of at this point I'm like all the way on the other side, you know. I just hope that my opponent just does this for so long that they actually lose the game because they time out for doing this. But that doesn't ever happen. All right, so they flipped showing a bolt, which is kind of like worst case scenario for us. It is pretty much worst case. Wow! Will they find the land now? Will they find the land? We'll never know. Yeah, Van Wedge called it right. I'm actually sorry that you did, because that means that we're... I don't think we're in trouble, but it's annoying. Ah, they did find the land. So lucky. So lucky. So, what do you guys think? Is it choke time? I think it is choke time. I think I'm going to go all in here. Whoop! Got the dace. You got the dace. Resolve. Resolve, please. Resolve, please. Pretty please. Yes? No? Ah, the suspense is killing me. Suspense is killing me. Okay, Van Wedge, yes. Now I hope you're correct. Now I do hope you're right. I really want to resolve this choke. I think if this choke resolves, we're actually fine. Because we can land the Jite. No, they had it. Damn it. So now I assume they bolt my Dried Arbor. But at that point the knight is going to be a 4-4. Which is cool. 4-4 knights are cool. If they do not bolt my Dried Arbor, what am I going to do? They are not bolting the Arbor. Okay. Since they didn't bolt... Ugh, that's not a good draw. Since they didn't bolt the Arbor... so they're of course keeping a bolt. So my options are waste the Volcanic. My opponent will probably kill the Arbor in response, get a token. That's fine. And then I take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 potentially. but I play my knight. I think I want to try to go for that. So, waste the volcanic. This will force the bolt of my opponent's hand. Yep, they bolt my arbor. I will float a green mana. Of course, if they have a second ace, we're in a lot of trouble. But if they don't, we actually have a pretty good chance. And next turn, we get to play Mace. And actually, wow, they had it all. Alright, we are getting destroyed here. I think we are actually dead. My opponent just had exactly the counter magic they needed. Oh, they just have the bolt here. At least that's cool. They are not slow rolling me right now. At least we can't beat this, so we're just going to concede. That was rough. No, knight does not get bolted, but I wanted to force the bolt first. No, actually that's correct, yes, because I would need to use the wasted mana in order to pay. So I only have just the one Relic Catacomb. So yes, that playing around days was not really an option. My opponent just had, you know, kind of like the perfects there. Which is fine. That's what Grixis Deliver does. So as I said on the play, I kind of want that second choke. And I like that Thalia. I probably just take out the Pride Mage. And it should be fine. Oh, maybe Sylvan Library is the card I want out. I'm bringing another Green Sun Zenith because I want to. I really want to make it to 3 mana on turn 2. This looks fine. Yeah, I think right there we kind of. I don't think playing around days was really an option, and anyway, my opponent had the force anyway, so it didn't matter. We're on the play, and we have a really good hand, so we'll keep. Of note, we don't have white mana, which is a little bit annoying. But, well, my opponent moved to 4. Jesus. Okay. So here, even if my noble gets killed, I can still like wasteland them and Green Sun send it for 0 to get it right over, so I'm still not behind on mana. It's a little bit rough because I don't have white mana, so that's a little bit annoying because I can't cast any of my two payoff spells. But it's pretty great otherwise. And here I am definitely playing Wasteland first, then playing Stoneforge, and wastelanding my opponent. They put 2 cards on top. So they have the force for the Stoneforge. That's fine. But they don't have any lands. And next turn, they keep pondering away. Jesus. And this turn, well, my opponent just has the 1 card in hand. Do I need to play around days if that's the case? I think I don't, because if my opponent actually bounces a land again, they just get so far behind. I'm going to go get a Savannah here. And if my opponent doesn't answer this night, then they are very much dead. Wow, did I not add a white mana? There we go. Yep, so this game is over. So I'm going to wasteland them again. My knight is a 4/4 already. Second knight coming up. And a Green Sun Zenith. This game is very, very over. Yeah, even if my opponent did have the days, I don't think I'm playing around days right there. I just don't think it's worth it. Fork Bolt, the Noble Hierarch. Yeah, that's not gonna be enough, brother. That's definitely not gonna be enough. Okay, so here I am in a really, really good spot. My opponent did not have the answer to knight last turn, so I think I'm just going to Cradle here. Play my second knight. And then I'm going to fetch away... Yeah. I'm going to fetch away the forest. Again, I want to. Yeah, this is a concession lag, I think. Yeah, I was going to wasteland them, so then True Nemesis cannot come down next turn. If they have Gormaganger, I don't care. Next turn I can Zenith for 3, I think, and I can go get Tireless Tracker, and it just gets out of hand from there. So sweet. So we are 1-0. As I said, usually the Delver matchup, I find it to be quite positive. So updating my records. And we beat 2-1 Grixis Delver. I think the Deathrite Shaman battle was actually really rough for Grixis Delver. People are still trying, but I've seen like people are running like Bomat couriers and stuff, and it's just like it's not quite Deathrite Shaman, you know. I guess it's still a 1-drop. So if you really need a 1-drop, I guess Bomat Courier is definitely a one drop. But yeah. So that match was over 30 plus minutes long. Yet I think we only used like 5 minutes in our clock. The other 25 were my opponents, which is kind of sucks a little bit, but it is what it is. All right. So give my opponent the good luck, and then we find a hand like this. This is actually pretty sweet, huh? I get to turn to Thalia. We finally get to try how good Thalia actually is. And turn 2 Thalia on the play seems like it's an okay spot to be in. We also have Wasteland. Yeah, I like this quite a bit. I like this quite a bit. We'll see what my opponent is on. They are on Basic Island. Well, Basic Island makes it so my Thalia doesn't look that good anymore. Unless I'm against Show and Tell, in which case Thalia is looking great. Okay. Let's see if that resolves. What do you think, opponent? Yep, that resolves. Nice. Thalia doing work already. Thalia doing work already. So this turn, what do I want to do? I can Hierarch plus Green Sand for 2, or I can Green Sand for 3. I think I'm more interested in Green Sanding for 3. Here I guess I'm going to get like a basic island, I think. Basic plains, I mean. So far I have no idea what my opponent is on. They might be on Storm. They might be on Storm, actually. They might actually be on Storm. Wow, I can Wasteland their Misty. That's value. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I think it's worth it to play around. Yeah, considering we have a second Green Sun Zenith, I think doing this is gonna be good. Now we get to find out whether my opponent is on Storm or not. They are not on Storm. Now we know. So then, considering that's the case, I am... Wow, that's actually super painful. Now we cannot Green Sun anymore, which is pretty unfortunate. Note that I am actually not showing this Caracas on purpose. That's we can actually play it off a show and tell if my opponent has it. My opponent cannot have yeah, they have show and tell. If they have omniscience, we're in trouble. If they don't, yep, this is great for us. Get out of here, Emrakul. Nice. Got him. Got him. Okay, so Thalia is really good against sneak attack. As in really, really, really good. Against this matchup, I kind of like Surgical. What Surgical does is Show and Tell usually plays what's this card? Intuition. So basically, what Surgical does is it blanks Intuition. It's like a free counter spell for their intuitions. So I think I want this. I think I want Reclamation Sage, and I'm not sure about Choke. I'm really not sure about Choke. I definitely don't want Ramunap. I don't want Ooze. I probably don't want Stoneforges. I kind of don't want Swords either. I want Python Needle. Totally forgot about that. Is Canonist worth it? Yeah, I think Canonist is worth it, right? Because if we play Canonist, they cannot Omniscience us. So I think Canonist might actually be worth it. Jita looks bad. Stoneforge doesn't look great either. Yeah, Canonist actually, the more I think about it, the more I like Canonist. So yeah, I'm definitely bringing these guys in. Just a one-off choke, I guess. Maybe. Everything else looks good. What does Teak stop? Teak stops sneak attack. I have so many answers to sneak attack. Okay, let's try this. I honestly have no idea how good Choke actually is, because they have like City of Traders, they have so many of those things, and maybe the second Choke is actually worth it. Okay, Sneak and Show. Let's see what my opponent's got. Sneak and Show is actually a pretty sweet deck. But yeah, so in the last game, you guys see why I did not play that Caracas. We were not punished by sneak attack anyway, right? Because we already had the big Thalia in play. So the only thing that my opponent could have was the Caracas. It was the sneak and show, the show and tell. Sorry, and because I know their show until I want to hide the fact that I actually had a Caracas. This hand is a little bit sketchy. We really need a second land, but I'm going to keep. Because just like turn 2 choke might be crippling for my opponent, and turn 2 knight is also pretty good if my opponent doesn't show me like a lot of things, because a knight can actually go and get Caracas. But yeah, I am putting a high premium on being able to ramp. And I am going to play Noble Hierarch on turn 1, and the reason I'm doing this is if I happen to not draw a land in my first 2 draw steps, on my second turn I still get to Green Sun for 0 and play Mom on the same turn. Which of course gets absolutely wrecked by Pyroclasm, which I maybe expect my opponent to bring in. So yeah, that for sure, but you know, we can only do so much with the cards we are dealt with. I also expect my opponent to bring in maybe some amount of Python Needles, or some amount of, some amount of Blood Moons, and my opponent bottom there. That's pretty good. So I'm going to play my Noble Hierarch and pass the turn. And depending on what my opponent does, I'm going to play knight on turn 2 or play the choke. The fact that my opponent mulled to 6 and then bottom their top card makes me think that we might not be dead yet. We might be dead in the near future, but not right now. If my opponent turns to show and tells, I get to play my knight for free, which is pretty sweet. And then after when I untap, my knight is not going to be summoned sick anymore, so I can actually go get Caracas. So that's cool. Okay. Yep, considering this opening for my opponent, I am definitely going to play knight right now. Choke is not really doing anything at all. And choke opens me up to Spell Pierce, whereas the only answer they could have to a knight is going to be like Classum, I think. They don't really ever play cards like Lightning Bolt. But yes, I'm kind of playing my cards here, you know, there's not really that much I can do. If my opponent has like Soul Land plus Lotus Petal and they just like they just send in an Emrakul, I'm dead. There's not really much I can do about that. If I get to untap though, I can Zenith for 3 and actually go get a Rex Sage, so that's cool. Another opponent that takes their time. This is unfortunate. What decision could they be making here? It just makes no sense. So here the question is, do I want to play around Blood Moon or do I not care about around Blood Moon? If I fetch a Savannah here, it's cool because I get to have white mana even if my Noble Hierarch does. If I choose to not play around Blood Moon, if you consider what my opponent is doing art, then I guess he's fine. But my opponent is just staring at a Verdant Catacombs trigger, and I seriously doubt they're playing Stifle. I kind of hope they're playing Stifle Bird because that would really get me and that would be kind of sweet. But they are not playing Stifle for sure. Stifle Bird would be dope though. Stifle Bird is great. I love that card. But yeah, we are enjoying some nice and slow opponents today. But anyway, we're still hanging in there. If all our opponents are gonna be like this, then I will for sure not be able to stream a second league. I might not be able to finish this one if it's this low, honestly, because I need to leave by 2:30, which is in 2 hours. Because I need to go teach a lesson. So yeah. So if my opponent has exactly Blood Moon next turn, then getting a second forest here is better, obviously. But I'm going to go get a Savannah and not play around Blood Moon because I think the upside of having white mana if my Noble Hierarch does is just worth it. It's also nice that my knight is out of Pyroclasm range. That's sweet. And now my opponent is gonna stare at a Untitled Reliquary on the stack for a good couple of minutes. Whoa, 2:30? Jeez, what a coincidence. Crazy world, man, crazy world. Manmon, do you also live in like the West Coast? In the States? Are we in the same time frame or are you in a different time frame? And that is completely irrelevant. So my opponent just has no place and they let me untap with my knight. Alright, this next turn actually requires a little bit more thought. Having drawn the Thalia right there was awesome. That was a really good draw right there. I think I am going to play Thalia and play Mom and pass the turn. Again, I want to leave myself. So Thalia, what Thalia does, and the reason why I'm doing this is it delays sneak attack for another turn. And honestly, I could even just go ahead and play and just wasteland my opponent here. If this Thalia resolves, I think I'm going to wasteland my opponent. If they don't do anything on their upkeep, if they do, right now. It's kind of unfortunate because, you know, this choke is going to be entirely uncastable now. If I actually wasteland my opponent, but the fact that I can, you know, wasteland them and delay the sneak attack one more turn, I think it's extremely valuable for me. Wow. I had never heard that pun. That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm actually a little bit unhappy that it didn't translate on writing, but big fan of puns. The stupider the better. I truly enjoy myself some really bad puns. Jeez, my opponent's tanking hard on this Thalia. There we go. Okay, what you got? What's going on here? Is my opponent gotta get intuitious? Cunning Wish. Okay. That's actually a sweet card. I remember 1 damage to any target, clash with an opponent. If you win, return to its owner's hand. Okay. So that happens. And now I can play the Mom, kind of forcing them, like, release the ant is going to basically do nothing. And I can wasteland my opponent too, which is also pretty sweet. So if this Thalia resolves, I think I'm in a good spot. Because this release the ants is definitely, I mean, it's probably not doing anything at all, right? I guess I can have like Soul Land plus Soul Land plus Show and Tell gets me. But it has to be like Soul Land plus Show and Tell plus exactly Emrakul. Jesus, my opponent's slow. If he did this, it's like, dude, if you know, Cunning Wished, you already like, you already made a decision, so you know whether this Thalia is resolving or not. Why is he making us wait for no reason? You either force this or you don't. Ugh, it's annoying. It is annoying. There we go. Jeez. So, play Mom. Sack Savannah. Go get Wasteland. Wow, that was awful! I could have gotten Gaia's Cradle, add 4 mana, and choke my opponent. I can't believe I missed that. Why was I so set on doing what I said I was gonna do? That was so bad. The game would have been over. That's like triple Wasteland. That was so bad. That was so bad. I just missed on winning the game. That's... that one's gonna sting. That one's gonna sting. On the plus side, they cannot Blood Moon me, so I can do that same play next turn. But I just gave them an out for no reason. It's like I was just like so set on, okay, now we can do this, we can wasteland them, and we can, you know, we can put them a little bit far behind, and we're only dead to this, that I forgot that we actually had a play to have them dead, period. So that's 100% my fault. Can I punt myself on the chat? Yes, I can. LSB punt? What? What's LSB punt? 0.99 pounds per hour? Jeez. I mean, I guess that's not that bad, actually. If in 1 hour I make only one punt, that's pretty good. The thing is that, you know, 1 hour was actually like 10 turns total against my opponents, which are like extremely extremely slow. So if you think about that, then my stats are not really that great. I thought that it actually counts like, I thought it actually counted like all of your, you know, all the times that you had streamed. So that's interesting. Oh, that's cool. I just received a notification. Not all who stream are as dedicated as you. You belong in a new class of streamer known as Twitch affiliates. Take part in the program and start earning with Twitch. So that's cool. So I guess I can be an affiliate now if I want to. That's sweet. My opponent just concedes anyway. Jesus. They just took so much time to just go ahead and concede. That was annoying. In any case, we are 2-0. Sneak and show. And I have to update the record text. So clearly, Knight of the Reliquary is the best card in Legacy. Yes, that's exactly what it is. I am actually a professional drummer. I make a living by hitting stuff with wood. It's a great deal. I recommend it. I recommend it very much. So yeah, that is. I actually have an actual, you know, a real practice space where I have my drum kits. So this is when, like yesterday was crazy hot in here, and I went to the practice room for like half an hour, and I'm like done. Same job as a porn star, nice. Dude, you're on fire today. Is there any way I can give you like, you know, make you like some kind of like the official punster in the stream? Because you deserve it. You deserve it. Lucky Dragon. We're gonna be on the play. We're going to high good luck my opponent. And this hand is, it's pretty sketch. It's pretty sketch. I'm going to keep it because I'm a greed monster. But if my mom dies on turn 1, I'm actually in a super rough spot. Because this Gaia Scrattle will add no mana. And you don't want that. If this mom does not die, then I can play a turn 2 Thalia and be quite far ahead. Unless my opponent is on like Death and Taxes or something like that. But maybe I should have mulligan this. Dude, you are a hero to me. I hope that helps. Say what? Elves? Oh, we're fucked. Oh, we're fucked. So I guess this stops my opponent from glimpsing and gives me more mana next turn. But what gives me the most mana next turn is to... Okay, let's think here. If I go get a Noble Hierarch, Then this Cradle taps for 2 next turn, plus 3, plus 4. So I actually have 4 mana next turn. That's still not enough to equip an attack. So I am going to cast Caracas this turn, and then play Thalia the next turn, to cast the other Thalia next turn. Of course, I'm going to hold Mom back, because Mom is actually representing mana with this Cradle. I'm in a rough spot though. Like I was saying, this matchup is, yeah, that's bad. No visionary, please. Okay. No visionary, please. Okay. Are they gonna natural order right now? No, Grixis up for 2. Okay, so they do have a visionary. So I'm in a bad spot. I'm in a real bad spot. I need to draw like an answer to this symbiote ASAP. ASAP. Okay, so I play Savannah. Savannah can make it so I can sin it for... That's not enough. That is not enough. So I wonder which one is the best, is the better Gaia's Cradle deck. I think I need to play the Thalia right now. I think I need to play the Thalia here. Thalia, to some extent, stops my opponent's mana development. And next turn I can add 3 mana. I'm still 1 mana short. Jeez, this is rough. It's very rough. So I can sin it for... So there's no way that I can like sword this turn. I am forced into casting Thalia, otherwise my opponent's gonna go off next turn. So I need to cast Thalia now. And since I have a second Thalia, I'm going to attack with this one. But they just block and bounce the Visionary. I mean, I might as well. The problem is if I sin it for 0, I cannot cast Thalia, right? Because sin it for 0 actually costs 2. So I am actually 1 mana short. And if I sin it for 0 like this, I actually don't have the white mana to cast the Thalia then. So I'm in an extremely rough spot anyway. And I think I'm going to... I doubt that my opponent is going to attack me next turn, so I'm going to take my 2 points here. My opponent can of course just block and bounce the Visionary, which is what they want to do anyway. So, you know, they have to... you know, I cannot deal 2 damage if I don't give them protection. At least hopefully this Thalia is gonna make some work here. Do some work, not make some work. 2 mana. Glimpse. Okay. So they bounce the Visionary. Cast Square on Ranger. Okay, this is bad. This guy EDB stabbed. I don't think the Ranger coming into play tapped mixes things up for them though. But yeah, this matchup looks really bad, and it doesn't get better post board. Before with the blacklist, I think I beat Elves once, you know, because of the Celios persecution. You get to steal like 1 game every now and then, but actually like winning the match is not really something that happens often. So now he untaps the Sentinel, which is fine, I think. Not drawing any swords or anything like that is also pretty tough. I really needed to draw sword support plowshares for this symbiote right here. This Thalia is slowing him down, but it's not gonna stop him. This Thalias, I guess. At least he cannot natural order. He already used his symbiote, so at least that is not really an issue. Play the value tapped because of the Thalia, and that's it. Okay, that could have been way worse than it was. Still, I don't think we're in a good spot. Not even close to. Let's think. So this is 3 mana. This was not a good draw right here, by the way. This is 3 mana. 3 mana for 5. So I can sin it for... I guess I can sin it for Teague to stop my opponent from doing crazy stuff. But that's not really taking me anywhere. I think that's what I'm gonna do though. Next turn, yes, I can actually Sword of Fire and Ice and do the thing that I want to. So yeah, I'm going to sin it for Teague here. Teague stops natural order and it stops future Green Sun Sinits. So my plan right here is going to be to just like bother my opponent as much as I can. And of note, if my opponent wants to spend their turn bouncing Nettle Sentinel, I'm actually okay with this. So that's why I'm attacking here without giving protection. And potentially my opponent can land a Crater Hoof, so Mace actually saves more damage by macing and attacking big dude rather than using them to untap my dudes. So they just have the hoof. They just have the hoof. Yep, that's extremely lethal. We're dead. That's rough. Like I said a couple of times already, this is an awful matchup. I don't think that we can realistically win this matchup. I guess we bring in Mindbreak Trap and Canonist. Pride Mage, no. I guess we bring in Needle. Maith seems really bad. That's it, huh? Yep, our deck does not feel really well equipped to deal with elves. Is Thalia even good? I'm not even sure Thalia is even good. Ooze. Yeah, our deck is bad. Our deck is just bad. I feel like Teague is not something that I'm going to want to go get really often. Now that I have Mindbreak Traps, I actually don't want to play Teague. So I'm going to submit this. Maybe I'm making a mistake here. I honestly have no idea about this matchup. This matchup sounds really, really bad with this list. But we'll see. At least my opponent is not taking like 7 million years to make their decision, so that's pretty cool. Here I have a little bit of interaction and I have it turned to Knight. Swords is what I want to be doing. The best draw, I guess, would be like a Jite or something like that. Jite would be real nice. And note that I just fetched there, because I want to make sure that Knight is big when it comes down. Seen it for 0, I mean, yep. Untap. Another land, worst draw possible. Uh, I really want to get this knight going, so I'm going to play it here. This might be incorrect, and it might be necessary for me to hold up swords, but my hand is so bad that I'm starting to doubt. I mean, I would rather save the swords for something else anyway, and I have so many lands that I want to sack this, and I actually want to wasteland the Dread Arbor instead of actually using a spell to kill it. At least my opponent does not play a Cradle there. Oh, you have Decay? Fuck me. Yeah, this game looks pretty over for me. Game looks pretty damn over. So I'm going to Swords this, so let's start there. And then swinging for one and play Savannah. Thalia. Yeah, this is awful. I am going to lose this game too. If we had drawn the Thalia, that would have been so much better for us. That would have forced my opponent, if we had drawn the Thalia last turn instead of the Caracas, I mean. Because then that would have made my opponent's decay cost 3, which would send them back a turn. Wow, this is so good. Gonna get to draw a bunch of cards here. Yeah, my opponent's gonna go off this turn. If they have any 1-drop elf, they get to go off here. Well, at least that's not an elf. But they get to draw another card. I guess they can bounce a Queer on Ranger here. And get yet another card after that. Right? I mean, it depends on what they draw. That is a mistake. I feel like you definitely want to bounce the Queer on Ranger there. I don't think it will matter anyway. We are super dead anyway. But it's just, you know, interesting to know. I'm going to attack here. If my opponent wants to block and bounce, they can do it. Here, Wasteland is actually awful because my opponent can, like, save it with Aquarian Ranger. So it's probably more valuable for me to bounce my Thalia and replay it. Dude, I needed to draw something that were not lands. Even Tracker would have been okay. But as things as they are, this is really bad for me. Do I want to waste a Wasteland, basically? To have my opponent's Dread Arbor be summoning sick. I think I do. Ooh, my opponent F6. Okay, sweet. So that's some serious value, right? We got away with one there. I don't think it's gonna matter. My opponent is just quite a bit far ahead. But still, we got away with one there. Yeah, now my opponent actually has the three elves and the cradle. Yeah, we're dead. We're just dead. They have the natural order, I guess. This side is actually stopping the natural order from being lethal this turn. That's kind of sweet. So they're just gonna bounce and replay. Makes sense. Makes sense. I guess Thalia is somewhat annoying. Now they have 5 mana. Oh, now they get to natural order. But natural order is actually 5, so that's plus 5 for every dude. So that's 10, 15, 16. It's only 16 damage. Only 16 damage. But wait, there's more. Oh, they just have a hoof in hand. Cool. Cool. Oh, are they gonna go get Elder Scale Worm? Oh no. That's disappointing. That would have been sweet. Probably Elder Scale Worm not the best against the 4 Source Closures game, so maybe they did not bring it in. But it buys them a ton of time though. Multiple symbiotes. Yeah, having no sweepers in this match is just... Maybe I should... What's his name? Holy Light? Maybe I should try to find some space for Holy Light. This. Awful synergy with Noble Hierarch and Birds of Paradise. And Script Ranger, of course. Awful synergy. This synergy, I guess. But still, it might be that this matchup is bad enough that it requires it. Or maybe what this person was trying to do is just, just hope to fade the matchup. Which I guess it's also an option. Yeah, now it's the natural order. Show me the hoof and I will concede. Yep, okay. Yep, so that matchup felt as unwinnable as I thought it was going to be. So, really, no surprises there. No surprises there. Where it is, update the record, so we're 2-1. Maybe we could have maybe we could have mold. Maybe we could have molding at that hand. Maybe that was the play. The thing is that if Knight survives, I was not expecting my opponent to have Abrupt Decay. I think if Knight survives with that hand, we're actually not in a bad spot at all. Or if I draw the Thalia and I'm able to play that Thalia on turn 2 instead of the Knight, to wait till I have a little bit more protection. Sure, I'll keep this. So this is a turn. Dry Arbor in... This is like the worst card in the deck to have in your opening hand, and it's not close. I guess it's close to Maze of It, because sometimes Maze of It is horrible and sometimes it's good. But Maze is always bad. But Dry Arbor is always bad to have in your opening hand. You never want to see this card in your opening hand. So that is unlucky. But, Swords. You assume we're playing against Death and Taxes here. We're definitely playing against Death and Taxes here. My opponent plays their Thalia. And we play our Thalia, I guess. Yeah, I want to play our Thalia. This is awful if my opponent has a Caracas in hand, which is definitely a possibility. I hear one of the most important cards in the against Death and Taxes deck is Mother of Runes. Yep, so my opponent has their mom. The good thing is that this Thalia actually gets to attack. And I think I actively do not want to play Gadoktig here. Gadoktig blanks 0 cards from my opponent's deck, and it actually blanks my Green Sun Zenith. So I don't think I want to play Tig at all, which kind of sucks actually. So green and green. Play Scavenginus. White, play Mom. No creatures in the yard is also a little bit rough. Two mana, Aether Vial. Okay. I guess that means no No plow for my mom, which is good. And usually whoever draws the Jite wins. So we'll see how this works out. That's not a good attack at all. Something. Business. That's not business. So I guess I'm attacking with both. My opponent will block with Mom and give it pro, but I can't punish him, which sucks. Yeah, they go for the block and they go entirely unpunished. That sucks. I really needed to draw up like some business right there. Really need to draw a sword, something like that. I think if my opponent attacks with Thalia, here I just block and let the Dry Diver go. Because I kind of want a creature in my yard for Scavenging Ooze to make the Ooze clock a little bit faster. Flicker Wisp. The Wisper Plains. Okay. You don't do anything. Okay. Sure. Don't care. Business. Let's draw business. That is business. Okay. How do we do this? 2 mana. 2 mana. That sucks. I'm 1 mana short. So I guess tapping this Savannah was actually relevant. With things as they stand, I'm going to do this. Attack with all. Block Thalia. Now we'll do this. So now Thalia is untapped. My opponent takes 3. And second main, I'm going to play Stoneforge and go get Jite. And next turn, I think my opponent can have Fire Action Revoker and can name Jite preemptively. Second Mom. Yeah, that's rough. Okay. Now, should my Jite connect though? If my opponent does not have Fire Action Revoker, and I'm pretty sure that Fire Action Revoker is his only out, because I can give pro white in response to a source, and I can. But if my opponent and I can bring pro white to force the damage through. So I think they need to have exactly Revoker here. Yeah, because they cannot have Flicker Wisp. So they need to have exactly Fire Action Revoker. Port Savannah. So now I don't need to be afraid of swords anymore. Because, you know, Thalia, their Thalia prevents them from doing that. So I am going to actually, you know, activate Stoneforge with this mana, I think. And then I will attack with the Scavenging Ooze. I guess they could have like Leonian Relic Warder or something like that. But I don't think I'm playing around that at all. Okay, so which card do I want to... Okay. I mean, we're going to go for it. There's not much use, really. They need to have exact... Revoker needs to be exactly their last card. It has to be that. There's gonna be a Thalia. I'm going to attack with Thalia. Give Thalia. Give Thalia protection from white before blockers. They don't have mana to flicker wisp, so they cannot wisp the Jite or wisp the Thalia herself. Yes. We got there. Jite too strong. Yeah, usually the Death and Taxes matchup is awesome. It's super interesting. There's a ton of interaction. There's a lot of back and forth, and it's really sweet. Usually, equipment it's huge in this matchup. So we have this. I like library, but I don't want it more than a one-off. Oh yeah, Teague is coming out ASAP. Ooze is not great. It's oftentimes just a 2/2 because my opponent will bring in Rest in Peace and stuff like that. Thalia, small Thalia seems worse than big Thalia, but both of them seem really bad because my opponent is a 3 Caracas deck, which is pretty rough. Mom is great, Swords is great. I want all my ramp. Stoneforge is awesome. Jite, Sword is fine. Pride Mage, yeah, I think I want everything else. Maybe I don't want Excavator, but my opponent showed me that they have a ton of non-basics, so I'm going to go like this. Still, I would hope that I had something else to take out for the other 2 Thalias, the small Thalias I mean. Because the small Thalias are really bad in the matchup. If this were a green source, I would keep this hand in a heartbeat. As is, I can't keep it. And this hand is better. I think I want to draw business. If I'm going to place a Mom on turn 1, I'm going to use my turn to source it, which would be awful. Yep. But I have to source it. Mom it's too much of a hassle. It's also really painful that I have to use like my only source, so if my opponent has a Wasteland coming up next, I'm in a really bad spot. Bye, Mom. But as you can see, you saw last match, right? Last game, I mean. Them not answering my mom ASAP gave me like all the time in the world to do whatever I wanted, and then it ended up being that I was, you know, kind of stopping my opponent. I was able to come through with the Jite through all of my opponent's dudes. I think I want to waste him now. I don't want for them to get up to 3 mana. Jite? Yeah, I'm dead. What does he get? I assume he gets Jite. Sword of Fire, nice. Okay. That seems less better than Jite. Less good than Jite. I guess we need a land here. If I get to double spell noble plus, yeah, that's not what I was hoping for. I guess mace stops the sword, so that's something. That is something at least. I assume with them getting sword, I kind of assume that they might have GTA in hand or Batterskull in hand. Either or, I think would be better than the sword. So I'm going to assume. All right. So here we go. This is the sweet things that you can do with Script Ranger, and what I was saying earlier that this card is secretly the best card in the deck. Check this out. I get to play Script Ranger. I do not have another land to play, so I untap Noble Hierarch, and I bounce the Savannah. Now I replay the same Savannah that I had before, and I get to play both Moms. And next turn I can do the same thing again. I can bounce the forest, and I can do this in order to path to swords whatever my opponent does if I need to, and play around like potential wastelands and stuff. So this is what I mean that Script Ranger is secretly the best card in the deck. You get some sick turns with Script Ranger like this. Yeah, and there you go. There's the Batterskull, like I was saying earlier. Them getting the sword was very sketchy right there. It didn't make much sense. So it makes perfect sense that the Batterskull is already in their hand. So if they attack, we get to mace the Batterskull unless they have either port or wasteland. And if we make it to next turn and we get to untap, then we might actually be in a great spot. Double strike, pro black, and pro game. Yeah, that card is fine. We can still source it. Which I am not gonna do right now. There's no reason for me to do this right here. I get to do everything I want anyway. That's a pretty good draw. Yeah, with both Moms in play, I think I'd rather play the Knight here. Untap, bounce, replay. I want to get Knight going, which will make their Batterskulls basically unplayable. We are still holding up swords. And I missed an attack here. I could have attacked for 2 with the Script Ranger. I just misclicked. That was 100% my bad. I should have 100% attacked there with Script Ranger. And with Script Ranger, actually Knight untaps twice in the same turn, which is pretty sweet. Maybe a rest in peace here? No, GT. Wow, my opponent drew all of their equipment. That's kind of unfortunate for them. No YMTG. Thanks for the follow. Actually, bring this down a little bit. That was really loud. I'm sorry if that was loud for you guys. The notification were crazy loud like there. Okay, so my opponent is going to equip on the Crusader. They have no mana untapped. So this is gonna be a pretty straightforward Swords the Crusader and Mace the Skull. I could even just block and protection to the Crusader. Actually, that's way better. This was... Ah, no. Wait a second. Was this just a bad attack from my opponent? Okay, so black and green. If I double block with Mom and give them both protection from white, this guy just dies. That was a terrible, awful block from my opponent. Awful attack from my opponent. They just gave away their Mirror Crusader for no reason. That was a very bad attack. So Mom gives protection for white to itself. Second Mom gives protection to white to itself. And I mace the Batterskull. My opponent deals 0 damage, GT gets no counters, and the Mirror Crusader dies. I think my opponent just got a little bit too excited there and made a very, very bad mistake. and they are going to be very, very punished. Get GT, untap, bounce, play again, equip. Yeah, they made a massive mistake last turn. That was a huge mistake from them. That's what Death and Taxes has, you know. It's a very, very unforgiving deck. If you make a mistake like that, especially, you know, we're very close to a Death and Taxes deck. We, instead of running Vials, we're running Noble Hierarchs and stuff. So in a matchup like this, making a mistake like that is just game over. And we beat DNT 2-0. Okay, and this is gonna be the last match of the stream. It's actually sweet that we made it through, even though our first two opponents made it not look great for a second. But we managed to get there. We're gonna finish the stream, and we again find basically the exact hand that I mulliganed on the last match. But we had a wasteland instead of a plains, and we're gonna mulligan this. So this hand is good against some decks, awful against some other decks, but I don't think that we can realistically go to 6, and this is a rough card to have on top, because again, it's going to be insane against some decks, it's going to be bad against others. So I'm going to try to find something like a Green Sun Thinnet, or a Knight of a Reliquary, some stuff like that. Pendelhaven, yeah, I would really like to have that Swords back. Please give me that Swords back. No, we drew another awful card instead. Yeah, so we played against what is probably this might be actually our worst possible matchup. Like, hands down, this might be like the single matchup that this deck cannot beat. I think we have game against everything else, but I don't think we can realistically beat Elves. And having played against it twice in the same league is super rough. Yeah, we're super dead here. We have nothing but air in our hand. I'm strongly considering just conceding here. Crap, we drew an actual good card, so I cannot really concede now. If I had drawn like another land or something, I was considering just conceding there. And maybe my opponent thinks that we're an infect or something like that, and they will make bad sideboard decisions. But having drawn a knight, it gives us like the slightest amount of hope, so we can't just, you know, concede. So what's my best card? The best card I can draw, it's probably GT, I think. I don't think GT does much anyway, because my opponent can make, again, the same trick that we talked about earlier. Whoa. What is that attack? Whoa! Incredible punt from my opponent. That was so good for us. Okay, we might actually have a chance. I am going to play Thalia here. I guess I play a Savannah. Play Kasali Pride Mage, and I'm actually going to kill the Dryad Arbor here, Wasteland the Arbor. That was huge! I don't know what my opponent was thinking when they did that. Wasteland, kill your Dryad Arbor. And they had 2 mana last turn and didn't make any plays, so hopefully they don't have any plays here either. Cross my fingers. Oh, why did I sack a Savannah? I should have sacked the basic force. That was awful. That was just my bad. Okay, they have a visionary. Hopefully no symbiote. Okay, okay. Okay. So I think I'm going to go ahead get another Savannah. I don't have no idea why I did that. That was bad. I should have not done this. I think I'm gonna wasteland the Pendelhaven here. Wasteland Pendelhaven. At some point I should kind of start trying to go get... So here I'm going to attack to Casale Primate. If they double block, I am extremely happy. So that's why I'm giving them the options to do it. They do not block, of course. And now if they attack, the reason why I did that is now if they attack, they like their Nettlesunnis and actually chump attack into Orthalia's versus them actually trading with my Casale Pride Mage. Green Sun Synod for a 1. Yep. Yep. Heritage Druid? No, Wirewood Symbiote. Okay. Mismatching? Oh no, that was the last match that they had different symbiotes. Mom. Okay, Mom is not awful. It's just really bad, but it's not awful. I'm gonna play this. I can like potentially get so here I'm gonna do the same play that I did last turn. What I'm gonna try to do here is if I'm not dead, I'm kind of forcing them to like block and bounce, which I think is what they want to do anyway, but it's fine. Maybe I should have attacked with both things. Okay, so they have a visionary in hand. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go get Mace of Ith at their end of turn, and what that does is it's going to enable me to start attacking with my knight. Another line would be to go and try to get Horizon Canopy. Okay, so scratch all of that, we're dead. Scratch all of that, we're dead. Oh, maybe we're not actually. So they have 6/6s, okay. So my opponent attacks. This is actually good for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to... Did they already activate Symbiote this turn? I don't think they did. They did not. Okay. So I'm going to block Symbiote with the Knight. And block Sentinel with Thalia. So this basically blanks my Windswept Heath, which is bad. Maybe I'm supposed to also block with the Noble Hierarch. Actually, I made a mistake. I should have gotten Dryad Arbor here, and that Dryad Arbor represents 1 less damage, but it also represents more lands in my graveyard to grow my Knight. So that was a mistake. I should have not gone straight to blocks. That sucks. Okay. Too late now. Hopefully it doesn't cripple me too much. That was my mistake. So that would actually put 2 more lands in my graveyard. So my Knight would be an 11/11 instead of just a 9/9. Go get Mace. Mace your hoof. And I take 6, 15. I take 11. My opponent loses their symbiote. And I just can go take my turn. But now I have a bunch of chump blockers. Of course, if my opponent has a second hoof, I am dead. Obviously. So I'm at 1. Zenith. What does Zenith get? Zenith for ooze? 9, 10, 9, 10, 11. That's not lethal. I would have won had I done the play that I just talked about, where last turn. Yeah, Rob Gladiator, I think you're correct, but I made a mistake last turn. What I should have done is, in response to the, I mean, before blockers, okay, I should have fetched for the Dry Driver. That Dry Driver actually jumps in front of the Nettle Sentinel, so I also end up at the same life total, which is 1. But I actually am able to have a bigger knight. Because right now this knight can only get in there for 9, 10, 11. And that's it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to attack. I am going to attack. My opponent is probably not going to block. My opponent is probably not going to block. So they're gonna go down to 6. And then I have ooze. I can mace my own knight. So I have knight as a blocker. I have pride mage as a blocker. I have mom as a blocker. And I have ooze as a blocker as well. And I can also sack. Because knight will be untapped. Before we actually resolve blockers, ooze can actually gain up to 5 life. So I think that's what's gonna happen. And then I have the win next turn. So I have to dodge like another natural order or another hoof. I think I can beat everything else. I could also not attack here. I have to make really sure that after damage I mace my own knight. So we're kind of forced into this play because I made a mistake earlier. Otherwise we would probably... I mean, we would still not have enough for lethal though. So here he goes down to 4. And end of combat, I untap my knight with mace. And I'm going to be able to gain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 life. They draw, okay. So we might actually be able to steal a game from this. Mostly because my opponent just chump attacked into my knight for no reason. Yep, we got there. That was extremely lucky. I should not have won that game. I think my opponent was extremely favored that game. They just made a mistake that cost them the game. Excavator out. Tig. Do I want Tig? I definitely want Canonists. Probably don't want Thalias. Definitely don't want Sylvan Library. Want all my plows, I want my things, I want my moms. Ooze, Ranger, Pride Mage. Maybe I don't want Pride Mage. How likely it is that they have... I'm going to hedge against against like some kind of GT or something like that post board, leaving the knights, leaving the Pride Mage. Let's go with this. Tig might not be worth it though. It stops their Green Suns and it stops their Zenith and it stops their natural orders, but it also stops my Zeniths. So I'm not entirely sure. As I was saying, this deck, even though it's awful with some of my cards, this list might actually need something like Holy Light. It might just be a necessity because we have literally no other answers to, like, we have no board sweepers at all, nothing like that. These hands. So we have a counter spell. We have Mom on turn 1. We have Knight on turn 3. I really wish I were more experienced with this list in order to know whether this is a keep. This kind of feels like a keep. It kind of feels like a keep. I'm just honestly not sure. The good thing is that if we happen to draw, I guess that the way that we beat Elves is like land the Mom and then like draw a Canonist. If we manage to do that, I think we're actually favored. But that also feels like it's like a sequence that only really works on the play and it's not really great on the draw anyway. I'm going to keep it for science, and we'll see. I also am not the biggest fan of Mindbreak Trap here. Maybe it's just not meant to be for this matchup. Maybe it's not meant to be for this matchup. Hard to know. I'm gonna keep 3 or more spells in my pace 0. Okay. And they kept it. Oh, it doesn't matter. They just fetched. Okay. That's not a bad draw at all. In fact, is that good enough for me to want to plow this? I don't think it is. I think I still want to turn 1 Mom, and next turn I can like play Dry Diver and plow. I think I want to save my plows for something like a Wirewood Symbiote or some stuff like that. Queer Ranger. And now I'm punished. Because now they get to add a ton of mana. Or well, there's a Symbiote. Okay, so cool. So I'm going to plow that guy then. My opponents still have access to a ton of mana this turn. Like 4. They can untap the forest, replay it, untap the land. 3 mana. They have up to 3 mana this turn. Erase that. They have a ton of mana. If this is a Visionary, I'm actually going to Mind Trap it. Seen it for 2. Yeah, I'm trapping this. Get out of here. That's actually how they get back into the game. Now we get to untap. We plow the Symbiote. We wasteland the Cradle, and we actually have a chance. We are gonna be needing to draw some lands though. That's not a bad draw at all. Plow your Symbiote. Waste your Cradle. And pass the turn. glimpse. Guess they do have some mana this turn. Crap. Please don't go off. Please don't go off. Please don't go off. Crap. If they draw like a visionary or something, Werewolf Symbiote will be like their absolute best draw. So they have a forest, an unknown forest. Okay, that's where it stopped. That could have been way worse. Please attack me. Please attack me. Please attack me. My opponent saw the line. What? Why would they ever go to combat? If they drew exactly the best possible card they could ever draw. That's literally the best card they could have found. That's frustrating. Dude, my opponent's deck is being extremely kind to him. I really needed them to whiff right there. That's really unfortunate. Another plow. All right. I think I want to plow the Llanowar Elf at this point. The reason for that is I have another plow, and also this is what's giving my opponent the most mana. The fact that they are able to untap the elf. So I'm going to actually go ahead and plow this right now before they ever get to use mana on it. To get mana from it, I mean. Now my opponent has one forest and no other cards that we know of. Also, Holy Light, really bad with Dryad Arbor. Of course my opponent draws the Cradle. Of course he does. Jeez. This game has been so frustrating. I think that we played correctly. It's just that my opponent got exactly the card they needed in the moment they needed it. Look at this. This is... Ugh. At least they cannot make any more mana this turn. So I guess there's that. But they drew exactly the perfect card on every single turn. Which is not what we need. Definitely not what we need. This matchup, as I was saying, is horrendous. And yeah. He bounces one Visionary, and then he passes the turn, yeah. So he has Forest and Visionary. Yeah, I'm going to kill this. That he cannot untap with that symbiote. That would be just so bad for me. He bounces Sentinel? Oh, Korean Ranger. Okay. Why would they do that? That doesn't make much sense. That's less mana for their Cradle now. Oh, they have a glimpse, of course. Of course they have a glimpse. Of course they have a glimpse. I'm not one for getting tilted, but this game was one of the most frustrating games that I've played in a long time. We're so far behind. We need to play the Noble Hierarch. Hope to untap and have 3 mana. We're so dead. I mean, we're dead to nature. Even if we play Thalia here, we're still dead to nature's to glimpse of, not glimpse of nature, the natural order. Okay. So what do I want to kill? I get to kill one of these guys. I think I want to kill the Visionary. No, the Queen Ranger. I want to kill Queen Ranger. Keep this protection from green. And we know none of the cards from their hand. They had a Visionary and a Forest and they played them both. So I'm going to take 5 protection from green. Gonna take 5 here, go to 14. My opponent's gonna do some stuff, some things. I guess they want to decay my mom. That's what it looks like. Yep. Decay my mom. Play Heritage Druid. This doesn't make sense. If they draw another Glimpse, they really wanted both of those cards in their hand. And I keep not drawing lands, but at least I have a Knight now. So next turn I can go with a Cradle. Oh, and that was a minor thing that I didn't actually point out. I actually blocked with Dryad and gave the Dryad protection because that is way better against Abrupt Decay, which is what I was playing around. At this point, I think my opponent has a ton of mana, so I probably want to kill the second Korean Ranger, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Down to 7. Okay. Okay, my opponent keeps chump attacking every turn. I actually have a chance here. And this is like the best draw ever. Okay, let's stop and think here. So I play Stoneforge. Yeah, that was a good draw. So I use 2 mana, play Stoneforge. Stoneforge goes and gets Jite. Yes. Knight then sacks Savannah, goes get Gaia's Cradle. Gaia's Cradle. Taps for 4 mana, use 2 mana to get to play Jite. Use 2 mana to equip on Dryad. If my opponent has another decay, I'm not playing around that anymore. I think I'm just dead. And if my opponent does have the decay, he definitely should wait until I attack before decaying the Jite. My opponent has a second decay. Good for them. You have to be kidding me that they have the second decay. They don't? Do they? I'm so confused right now. Okay. We get our Jite, and I'm going to kill the Heritage Druid. No, I'm actually gonna kill the Visionary, I think. No, the Heritage Druid gives her more mana. And I can actually kill this. And then Cradle only adds 3, 4, 5, 6, so I am not dead to... let's say that my opponent draws exactly Hoof. I'm not dead to it. If my opponent draws Natural Order, I'm still dead. If my opponent draws like another symbiote, I think I'm also very dead. If my opponent draws a Reclamation Sage, I think I'm very dead. My opponent draws another Decay, I also think I'm very dead. Birchlord Rangers is fine. I don't care about that one. But Birchlord Rangers allows them to actually cast the Hoof here. They don't. I think I just take 4 here. And if my opponent does not have an answer... What's up, Archmage? If my opponent does not have an answer to this GT, then I think we might actually be able to steal this one. So I add 4 mana. Do I play a second knight? I think I play a second knight. I think I'm gonna play a second knight and move the GT to the Stoneforge. Kill both dudes. Yeah. Play second knight. Grab GT. Put it in a Stoneforge. Yeah, it was too many 5-0s, you know. I just had to move on to something worse. Now you just, I mean, I laugh at it right now, but honestly, like we streamed out. I streamed Amulet yesterday, and we got crushed. We had 5 losses yesterday, and 5 losses were like the total amount of losses that I have had since I've been streaming, which was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So yeah, it was like the worst stream I've had since I started. It was very rough. That's a good thing. Cool. So I guess we got away with one here. This is actually lethal. So I wasteland, knights become 7/7s. That's 14. 15, so it's actually not lethal, so I'm not going to waste that. I am actually going to waste the... Or 6/7/7. Yeah, I think I want to waste the Cradle. Well, considering that my win rate was 30/5, so 30 wins, 5 losses. I don't even know what percentage that is, but it's an incredible win percentage. I don't think I've ever had a win percentage like that, honestly. And this is gonna eat a Birchlord Ranger, and it's also gonna eat Elvish Visionary or whatever. Considering what my win percentage was before that, then it was bad. But no, 50% is still okay. So this is interesting. These guys are basically protecting me from dying to Hoof. Because Hoof would be 1, 2, 3. I mean, I'm definitely attacking here. My opponent is not going to block. And I am going to kill the Dryad Arbor. Kill the Arbor. Yeah, I probably should have thought that through, but this feels okay. Because now the only hoof that they can cast is through a natural order, and they need to sack one of their dudes for natural order, and that makes the hoof even smaller. So I think these dudes make it so I don't die to hoof, which seems like something I want to be doing, you know, not dying to hoof. Is that the Ren's Packmaster? That's a sweet card. I love that card. But that takes them off a blocker. Oh, Rex Sage. Sure. That makes sense. I mean, not that I could have done anything about it, right? Rex Sage, eat. So this turn I am actually going to attack with everything. and that forces a chump. Okay, let's think here. Oh, cool. Yeah, so I get to do play a tracker and play a Tig. Tig actually seals the deal. They cannot win anymore. And Us is gonna eat something else for good measure. Just eat the missionary. And now, yeah, now my opponent has to 7, 6. Yeah, so I'm going to attack. Yeah, my opponent got. Wow. What's up, Andrea? How's it going? Nice. I can't believe we beat Elves. I cannot believe we beat Elves. Granted, we beat Elves because my opponent made a couple of bad misplays that punished them really hard and allowed us to win. I don't think the first time that we played against Elves, my opponent just demolished me. That was very interesting though. My opponent had like a bunch of perfect draws, and we had a super slow draw, and yet somehow we were, able to scratch that win out of there. Tom D, you'd be surprised, but Amulet is way less variance. It's not as variance as it seems like it is. It's actually, of course, it's not as consistent as something like Burn. Burn is a consistent deck. Like John is a consistent deck. But Amulet is more consistent than you think, but it's definitely beatable. In yesterday's stream, we lost to Blood Moon and bad matchups, basically. Bad matchups being KCI. What else did we lose to? We lost to Blue White Control, which is not a bad matchup, but my opponent drew very well, and my hand was like just enough slow so that I could not punish them for tapping out for Teferi. And but yes, it's not like the deck is inconsistent, really. It's just that the deck is extremely punishing. So sometimes, I mean, if it were played by like a perfect player, which I don't think there is, I think that the win percentage of that person with the deck, if there were somebody that knows exactly what to do in exactly the perfect spots every single time and does not make a mistake, I would not surprise if Amulet as a deck, like the way it's built, would have like a consistent win rate of like 70% or something. Like a really high win percentage for a modern deck. But the thing is that the deck is extremely punishing. So even really good players, I consider myself to be and definitely an above average Amulet player, and yet still I make mistakes that cost me games that I should not have lost every time. All the time I am making mistakes that are costing me the game. And there's decks where you make a mistake and it just doesn't punish you too hard. Jeez, I need to learn how to Usulas. Thanks for the follow. That my things. Let's see if I can take down the alert box. Oh, there you go. I need to definitely. That freaked me out so bad. Take the volume down. No, sorry, I will not be able to Maverick to play Maverick again right now. Usulas. If you are here tomorrow, though, I will. I really enjoy the deck. I just played my first league with this list. This is a list that I saw at 5-0 a Legacy League, and I really liked it. So far, I was playing this list, which also felt really sweet, but I was not entirely sold on it. I was basically what I did was something very lazy. I just had the same list that I was running before when Deathrite Shaman was still legal that I really liked, and I changed the 4 Shamans for 4 Hierarchs, and I changed the 1 Hierarch for a Bird. So this is like the exact same list that I 5-0'd like 4 or 5 times with it in the past 2 months or 3 months. But it just was not. I don't know. There was something about this list that was kind of not like working, you know. it was not really working out for me. So that's why I saw this, straight green white list, and I was like, okay, let's try this one out. The list felt actually really nice. We played against Grixis, Delver, Sneak and Show. We played against Death and Taxes, and we played against Elves twice. The Elves matchup felt miserable. We managed to steal one match against one of those Elves players because they made some misplays that actually gave me an out to win. And that those misplays happened in game one, and in game two they just mulled to 6, and their hand was incredible, but our hand was just disruptive enough that we were able to get there. Then we played against Grixis Devler, and the matchup felt like it just felt really good. It just actually felt like a really good matchup. Then we played against Sneak and Show, where I think we drew pretty well, but the deck also looked pretty sweet there as well. And then against Death and Taxes, again my opponent made a very very gross misplay, and I punished them very hard, and I just killed them from there with equipment and having moms in play. This list actually felt really sweet. Thalia looked really well. She looked really good in a couple of like against Sneak and Show, for example. It basically blanks sneak attack, which is actually kind of awesome. Against Death and Taxes, making all of their dudes coming to play on tap, and making all of their dudes against Elves coming to play on tap was actually a big deal. And against Grixis Delver, it's like time walk every single turn. We just played against Sneak and Show, and the deck actually felt pretty. It felt okay against Sneak and Show. It's not as bad as for Cololome, because we have swords which are I guess good against them. The thing is that Omniscience is the issue, right? Omniscience is the real issue against Sneak and Show. Basically, the only answers we have to Omniscience are Casalia, which is too slow because they usually play Show and Tell. They land the Omniscience, and then they just cast Emrakul immediately after. So Pride Mage is like, I don't side it out because post board they are pretty likely to bring in Blood Moons anyway, so I keep the Pride Mage anyway. But Rex Sage is like the only real answer to Omniscience. When they sneak and when they Show and Tell the Omniscience in play, you play the Rex Sage from the Show and Tell, and they don't have time to. Yes, that's what I was going to say. It felt like we brought in the Canonist, and that's a reason why we brought them in. Actually, the fact that we were able to slow them down, and if they want to Sneak and Show for an Omniscience, we can play Canonist. They cannot play a second spell, and then when we untap, we are able to land either a Pride Mage or a Rex Sage to destroy their Omniscience. So that was the thing. Also, Choke looked really good against Sneak and Show. I brought in Surgicals because of Intuition. Usually Sneak and Show lists run Intuition, and this basically counters Intuition for 0 mana. And I think I brought in the Needle as well, because the Needle can name either Gristlebrand or Sneak Attack. But yeah, so that's pretty much what we have. That's pretty much what we have for today. I will come back tomorrow, and I will either stream another League of Maverick, or I will do some Amulet. For people that don't know, this is mostly a Knight of the Reliquary slash Primeval Titan stream. So those are gonna be the ones that I will be playing the most. Jeez, wow, it's lagging really bad. This is the list that we ran yesterday. List was sweet. Did the frames change? I think the frames changed. They look weird. Yep. So let's do it like this, Usalas. If you are here tomorrow for the stream, we will 100% stream Maverick. You got it? Yes, I will probably be streaming around this time as well. I usually stream like between. I live in the West Coast in the States, so I stream between like 10 a.m. ish, 10/11 a.m. until like 2 p.m. or so, maybe 3. And if I see you here in chat, definitely let me know. And even if we're playing Amulet, I promise you that we will play some Maverick for sure, for you. Okay. And sweet. I will try to. I think that now I changed the configuration, so actually my streams are getting recorded. So I will see if I can actually upload them to YouTube, and maybe people can check out the content there. If not, you can check the VODs for a couple of weeks, I think. And yep, right now it is almost 2 p.m. for me. It is 10 to 2 p.m. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the content, and I hope to see you again tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. See ya.